And now, without further ado, here are your hosts, Bill from Armstrong Adventures, and Scott from Controversial Cruising.
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
Here we are. Hello, Bill. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. How about yourself?
I have to tell you, I am like Antsy Pants McGee over here to leave for Alaska. So I know I'm in KMA territory, but man, I can't wait to leave. I am like, I'm ready.
I was thinking about it today. It's like, it's been about a month since I went on my last cruise, and it's like, I got another month to go. Oh my goodness. And I really wish I was going on something like now.
Well, we are going on something soon too. So, it's only almost like a month away. So
yeah, that's a month is too far. You're doing it right, my friend. You're doing it right.
Yeah.
Get on this one, then hop on and a couple of weeks after that, hop on another one.
And then we'll be in another one in September and then possibly October. And I did also book another one, Bill. I wanted to surprise you and tell you live on air, but I booked one for next February. And I know you're a Carnival cruiser, an avid Carnival cruiser, but it is the FFS cruise, the John Heald's Faster or For Fun's Sake, I'm sorry, cruise with
I saw that. I thought about booking that one. I may have to take a look into it.
You should. I'm going with actually my Aunt June and Carnival Cruise Addicts and Cruise Life TV are all going to be there. So
I might look into that one. I did. I saw he was booked. Had put that out there. Carnival Magic, I believe, or something like that. Yep.
Carnival Magic.
I'm glad he didn't do Alaska
16th. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, he went against Alaska. I wish he would have, but it's still going to be fun. And I think if you can find your way on there, Bill, I think it's going to be a really good time.
I'm gonna look at it and see.
Yeah. Yep. And you'll also be happy to know now. My mom called me today and she was asking me all about my cruises and the next cruise. And I think she finally broke me down. And I'm gonna get a Shipmate. That app that you guys are all the new kids are talking about.
Come on now.
I'm gonna get a Shipmate, guys. So Controversial Cruising will have a Shipmate, and I will have all my cruises in there, so I can actually share them with my mom. But I'll share them with you guys too.
One of the biggest things I use it for is find out who's going to be on the cruise that's coming up. So like your Miracle Cruise, you can see if there's anybody that you recognize that might be on a cruise, and they do. Yeah, as long as they listed it'll show up. So I like Utopia. We can go on Utopia and see who's going to be, who's listed on it. Not necessarily. I mean, if you don't list it, it's not going to show up.
I will do it after this live. I will get on. Yeah. I did not even. I'm on it. Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. See, Bill, I learned something new from you every live. I do.
That wasn't me. That was somebody you learned from everybody. I mean, you did learn that, but it was really Shipmates you got from somebody else.
I did, but I mean, I didn't know that fact. They didn't tell me that fact. And honestly, you know how much of a connector I am. So, I mean, I'm going to download it right after this live. I will. So we have a poll up. Actually, Bill, you want to tell everybody about the poll?
All right, we do. We have a poll up. It should be up on both channels. We want to know that what port. If you're looking at the topic today, you notice that we're talking about capping capacity on some of these ports. So, with that being said, what port would you most? I really messed that up. What port would you most likely or be upset about if they cap capacity? Don't look at my spelling on mine, people. I don't think I can go back and change it. So don't look at the spelling. And I got to answer. I mean, maybe they deciphered what I was trying to say. Anyway, what port? Alaska, Western Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean, or Europe?
Okay. I would be most upset about Alaska. You guys know. So, how about you, Bill? I knew he was going to take a second on that one.
Yeah, probably Alaska, because that's the kind of thing that you just can't get like anywhere else around here. Maybe go to Antarctica, maybe or Norway or something like that, but you couldn't get that anywhere around here. So probably Alaska.
Yep.
I haven't cruised to Europe yet.
Neither have I.
I think that would be bad. I think if you couldn't get off the ship there because of you want to get off there and go look at the history. So if they started closing down ports or limiting the number of people that are there, that might be a bit much. But right now, I'll go with Alaska.
Alaska. So we both say Alaska. So ironically, Bill, looking up stuff for my next cruise, I was kind of poking around the Googs and looking around at different Alaska topics. And actually, there is a kind of shocking piece of news for Alaska. Have you heard of this yet?
About Alaska?
Mm-hmm.
No, please tell.
So Alaska in itself actually has started a cap on a very popular cruise port of theirs, probably one of the most popular cruise ports for the tourism in Alaska. And they actually just started a cap on it as far as cruise ships go. But before we get into that, let's get into the chat before that gets away from us. Let's see who came in here first, knocking at the door. We have Aunt June. Hello, Aunt June. Welcome in. We have Shady Brady, the other half. Hello, Shady Brady. Both going to Alaska with me very soon. Hello, Traveling Fools. Welcome in, my friend. I am excited about our live after a couple hours after our live. I'm doing a Traveling Fools live, talking about the Slob Olympics and answering some of the first-time cruiser questions for his community and for himself as well. So, yes. Kathy RSVP. Hello, Kathy. Welcome in. Event Yours. Hey, Scott. Welcome in, Event Yours. Nice to see you. Will G. Evening all. Hello, Will. I know, Aunt June, I am so ready to go, and we are going at a good time. Let me tell you. After you hear this, let me tell you. Check on tonight for my Horizon cruise. I love check-in day. Mike and Rihanna's Adventures. Welcome in. Good evening. Hope you guys are feeling good.
Hey, Will G, do you stay up to midnight to check in?
Sometimes I do, but it doesn't really matter. For us, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't really matter anymore. But sometimes I do, just for the just for the effect of it. It's like a little kid on Christmas.
I still do.
Do you? Cheryl Cossack, I fly out June 1st for Alaska. Yes, we were talking about Alaska. I actually tagged Jimmy, the astute tourist, was looking for recommendations for a hotel. And Cheryl, I know, travels. She cruises, she travels. She's a well-renowned traveler. So I knew she knew a very good hotel and a good recommendation. I tagged her, and within 2 minutes, Jimmy had a wonderful recommendation. So thank you, Cheryl, for that. I appreciate you. I guess slots are all booked. I know it's a little crazy, but it keeps me going. Traveling Fools. Let's see. And Aunt June says, I'm going to, Bill. I need to meet you. Talking about the FFS cruise.
Sweet. I can't wait. I'm going to look it up. Hopefully, I have some kind of deal going on there, but I don't. I have to look. I have to go on my shipmate and see if I have any cruises booked at that time. I don't think I do.
I will say some of the people that I named got some really good deals too. I also even had a little bit of a drink package in the casino, the drinks on us in the casino, and I had $100. So they were even throwing a little bit at me, Bill. So
did you gamble on the ship?
I gambled a little bit. Bit.
Because people, they're always talking about, you have to gamble too much. You paid for the cruise. And it's like, you really, on Carnival, not the other ones, but on Carnival, you really don't have to gamble that much to get these offers.
I think I ran maybe 575 points through the machine.
Yeah.
And I won. Believe me, I won a couple of the fireballs. I play all the fireballs and all the slot machines. Thank you, Uncle Brady. Never did before until him. I use Shipmate all the time. Yes, I really have to get on it. I'm so behind the times. I really am. Let's see. Journeys with June and Brady says, I'd be sad if they capped Eastern Caribbean. Wow. Interested to see that, and surprised to see that, actually. Eastern Caribbean. Hey y'all, it's got my drink recommendation for you, and the miracle is the Spicy Sailor at the coffee bar. All right, VentureCast, I will definitely try it. I'm not too much of a spicy drink person, but when somebody has a recommendation, I usually try it. So I will definitely try it, and I will give you a live video because you are always so nice in screenshotting and sending pictures when you win things for Thirsty Thursday. So yes, I will be trying this Spicy Sailor. I'll remember that at the coffee bar. He knows I love coffee, so it's got to be something with coffee.
And see, I'm just a drinker. I go down there, I go to the bar, look at the list. Give me that one. Now that one sounds good. A lot of times, what I tell the waiter, unless it's something that's really good, I tell the waiter, make me whatever you want to have. And they look at me confused. you know, what do you mean? If you were drinking, what would you make yourself? And usually they do. And one lady, there was a waitress. She really didn't want to do it. So she didn't really want to give it to me, but it was a cucumber sunrise at the Alchemy bar. I'm like, whatever you want, I like. And it's just so happens I really love that drink too. So it worked out.
Hey, sometimes when you let an artist do their own craft and create their own masterpiece, it comes out so much better. You know, when people at the florist, you just tell me, go ahead, go make me something for $50. I used to come out and not, the design used to just come out in the artist. So I get it. And I was also a bartender too. So I loved when people were like, hey, go make me whatever. I'm like, I got you. Let's see. I've never been to Alaska, so I can't get upset about something that I don't know about. That is such a good point. Such a good point.
Yeah, but this is such a bad situation for. Well, I'm torn because people can destroy ecosystem.
Yeah.
So I'm torn about about that. But whenever you limit supply, whenever you limit supply and demand is high, get ready to pay the price.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, those Alaska cruises. Oh yeah, they're gonna go up a little bit. Uncle Dave says, "Hey y'all, welcome in, Uncle Dave. How you doing, my friend?" Aunt June says, "I stay up. It's fun." See, I told you. Sometimes I get that a little adrenaline rush. I'm like, yeah, I gotta stay up. I can check in. I check in at 11 a.m. since I am Central Time. Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, Shady Birdie is your other half. And they are just both on both channels and supporting, which we love. Let's see here. Cheryl says, I stay up midnight, up until midnight after I sign in and go directly to the boarding time, choose my time, then finish everything in the morning. There's a good tip for you. Just select the time, bypass everything else, and you're still checked in. You still hold that time, and then you can upload your upload your documents, upload everything else in the morning and your address. Such a good point, Cheryl. See, look at this. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I got your package with the Friends glasses. Thank you. And also the Spicy Sailor isn't spicy. It's a spiked hot chocolate. I am on it, VentureCast. Thank you very much. And yes, half of that gift was actually from Randy because you guys were supposed to split that. And Randy said he did not watch Friends much and knew you would enjoy them. So that is a half a gift from him. Mommy Millionaire said Ava and Aiden said hi.
Hey, Ava. Hey, Aiden.
I love that. So cute. So cute. Okay. And okay, Bill. So I think that brings us finally down to the bottom of our chat so we can start our discussion on Alaska capping cruise ports here. So listen, Bill, I know that Alaska cruises in general are a dream and what you and I call bucket list for so many people because of the landscapes and the excursions and such the beautifulness and of nature that one can take in that they can't get from the Caribbean or anywhere else. Well, you can get beautiful from the Caribbean, but once you go to Alaska, you know what I mean, right?
It's a different type of beauty.
It really is. It really is. It's eye-opening. I mean, the air, everything is it's just something that I think everybody deserves to experience at least once in their life. Now, with this recent cap that we're going to talk about, right? That's not only going to throw a curveball in people who may be traveling there or thinking about traveling, right? For many reasons, right? cruises to Alaska are going to go up, right? People that may have been planning on those cruises, now they're going to start to drop off because of the capacity that we're going to talk about. So, I mean, honestly, both the locals and the cruisers are both kind of getting affected by this. Where do you stand on this, and what do you kind of think as far as a cap goes before we talk about what that cap actually is?
Well, I'm torn. Just like, I was just kind of hinting about a little earlier. I'm torn because I've been up there. I was on the Luminosa one time, and as I'm looking out, and I look at the Sherry didn't know what the whale fin is, the whale tail.
Whale tail, yeah.
I'm like, we were talking, and I said something about the whale tail. Does it have a whale tail? Well, she saw two Carnival ships. One was the Freedom, and one was something else. And she didn't. And I know I'm off subject here, but she didn't know what it was. That surprised me. Anyway, I'm looking up on the Luminosa, and it doesn't have the whale tail, but they have a smokestack, and all this black smoke was coming out. We're in Alaska, and I'm like, this can't be good for the environment. This can't be good. And I understand why locals, naturalists, and people, environmentalists, want to put a cap on it. So I'm for it. I'm for it. Even though it's going to raise the price for people, I'm for it. If you want to maintain that beauty, whether you believe it or not, as far as like global warming, I've actually, there was about 5-6 year difference between my trips to Alaska, and I could see where the Minnehaha Glacier had receded. So for whatever reason, it's not staying where it was or even growing. It's receding for whatever reason. And I think it might be time, it might be time to put a cap on it.
Yes. And, so a lot of the ships definitely still are starting to be equipped with that shore power where they can kind of recharge and turn off their motors once they're docked at the actual port of Alaska. So that is also a really good thing and a kind of a step forward for the cruising industry in general, because I think they kind of woke up about that, even though there is kind of black smoke still being emitted, right? But aside from the nature aspect and the environment aspect, which is probably the worst of it all, right? Taking away that, let's talk about the other side and the other aspect, right, that could cause the controversy for the people that live there and the people that are on land, right? Because you have two stances on the people that live there, right? So you're talking about the locals, right? And I read this in an article that there were people that were there, locals, welcoming the very first ship. It was an NCL ship. I believe it was the Bliss, NCL Bliss. And they were there welcoming people, saying, hey, how are you? And people, disabled people that were just lived there for 40 years and saying, hey, come to our town. We appreciate you. We can't wait. Let me love on you. Let me show you. And then there's other people that are like, okay, yes, they're great and they're wonderful, but what about the 569 ships that are all coming here this cruising season? What about that? And what about the tremendous growth in 26% growth in the fact that passengers now, right, are booking Alaska more than ever? So it's driving more people to these ports, and some of the locals feel that they can't sustain it. Local businesses are thriving in a point, but at some point when we're talking about supply and demand, if there's too much demand, right, they can't withstand it.
Scott, you've been cruising a long time. Think back 10, 15 years in the Bahamas, in Nassau.
Yeah.
It was totally different.
Totally different.
You go back 20 years. Nassau was a great port, and this is not the new port that they just built. You could go there, you get your excursions. You weren't harassed as much. It was a good port to go to. Too many people started coming. They were able to hold more ships than what they could actually provide services for.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not talking about the environment, because apparently they don't care about that. But I'm just kidding. But it became overcrowded. The environment suffered. The businesses suffered. It got to a point where most people, hey, Nassau, I'm not even getting off the ship. That's how bad it got. And will Alaska ever get like that? I hope not. But even now, some of these ports, when they have the a certain number of ships into the ports, it's tough getting around. It's just so many people. The stores are packed. It takes away from the enjoyment.
It really does. It really does. And with you saying that too, it reminds me of a story last year when, and Uncle Brady will vouch for this, when we went to Ketchikan. And we're not going to talk about Ketchikan, but Ketchikan in general. And this guy that I met, Ken, who owns the Salmon Ladder, he's got a very little shop. He's got authentic jade. He's got all different kinds of authentic Alaskan souvenirs that you would want to get for somebody. And I talked to him for a long time. He actually let me go in his backyard. I have a video on my on the page. He let me go in his backyard. You can literally grab a salmon from right there. I could see the people up on the creek. I waved to them. He was so nice. But I'm thinking, and I talked to him. I said, hey, how has business been since the shutdown and COVID and all that? And he said, 2022, it picked up a little bit. 2023 was what the year that we were in last year. And he said, this is finally a year where it's really busy. Right. And now I look and it was busy. There were people in the shop and, he's only one guy. It's just him. So imagine he's on one side of the shop. People are people. Okay. Things go in pockets, I'm just saying, right. You get overwhelmed when there's so many people, and it was overwhelmed in 2023. So now with the amount of people that are set to cruise in 2024 to Alaska, I'm thinking of a guy like him in a local port like Ketchikan. What is that going to do to him for a port like Ketchikan, who hasn't even talked about limiting or limiting the capacity of cruisers or cruise ports or cruise ships or any of that? And they're a small port. You've been to it.
Yeah. No, I from 5-6 years ago when I went to this last time I went last year, big difference in all the ports. I mean, you're going shoulder to shoulder. Tracy's Crab Shack a line out the door, going miles down the road trying to get Tracy's Crab Shack. So I mean, there comes a point. Alaska has a limited season. The businesses limited season. So the businesses, they have to get as much business as they can, April to September, as much business as they can. Mm-hmm. But what does it do for a lot of these towns? We're actually in the towns. We're where the locals are. Yes. What about them? It's like the good season, they can't go to town. They have to go at night. Yep. What happens to them? And I can understand it. United States, Key West is a prime example. Yep. And Key West is a prime example of wanting to limit ships. The people that do touristy businesses, we want more the merrier. The locals, they hate it.
Yep. And even Bill, I'm in a port that from 2 to 11. I forget exactly which one it is, but we're in a port from 2 to 11. I'm like, well, what about the locals that want to go to the bar at 7? Now it's going to be over at rooms. Can I get a drink? Can I get a drink? Can I get a drink? Can I get a drink?
Oh, and with tourists in town, you got to raise the prices.
Of course. So yeah, I mean, there's just so many. I've sat on both sides, because I live in a town like Scottsdale, right? And Scottsdale is a very touristy area, right? I have to think every day. I'm like, wow, people actually fly to Scottsdale to see. Yeah, you work in a hotel, dummy. Like, yeah, people come there, like. And we do. It's probably one of the top 10 most visited cities in the United States, taking out Alaska. I know Alaska is part of the United States, but within the United States, it's crazy. And the tourism, and we don't have anything near the cruise capacity that these little towns in Alaska are being asked to hold. It's crazy, and to preface this too, it's not just Alaska. There are other ports that are toying with ideas and trying to get petitions signed, trying to get bills passed for limiting the amount of people. And to give you an example, I've never been here, Bill. You might have, but Bar Harbor in Maine, it's a small little town in Maine, but they're actually trying to get almost by more than like 42%. They're trying to get like 42% of the capacity cut down in like 2025. They're trying to 2025, but I think 2026 they're going to get it cut down because they say they're admitting they can't really handle it right now. They're overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed. And Bar Harbor is small.
Getting away from cruising for a second, but just to show you what a difference it makes, Detroit hosted the NFL draft weekend ago, 2 weekends ago.
Right.
Go downtown Detroit. You can park $15. Go to the riverfront, walk around. They had close to 300,000 or 400,000 people come to the city for the draft. You had locals, you had people from out of town. My $15 parking went to $100. The bars raised their prices. You couldn't get half the places that you would want to go to downtown, all because of these visitors. What if that happened every day? What if cruise ships stopped every day? We have a cruise ship that stops in Detroit, but that we won't talk about that right now. But what if every day downtown Detroit was flooded? The city would love it, the businesses would love it, but people that live here and want to go down there and then go to the bar, I could see they would hate it. I would hate it. The Princess Queen little dinner ship that goes out every night to have dinner on the ship. And all of a sudden, instead of being a $25 fee, now it's $75. Unless you go out after hours. But all the tourists want to pay it. So I understand it, and I didn't years. If you had asked me this question 10 years ago and 5 years ago when Key West was complaining, I'm like, what are they complaining about? Well, I was one of the tourists, and I was going down there, and I was having the time of my life. And I'm like, this is helping them out. I never realized how much the pollution, the noise, the noise pollution, how much it really affected the quality of life down there for the locals down there.
It really does. It really does. And let me run down this real quick. Event Yours says you're taking drink requests. I got a few for you. And yes, Event Yours too. I also owe you a few lives too as well. Watching some of your lives, it's a little hard because because I'm at work, but I definitely owe you some lives. You are an amazing supporter for both of us, and I appreciate that. And I
love her channel.
That Aries cocktails because you got some fire over here. So. But yes, I will take all drink requests on the, I almost said the Luminosa, on the Miracle. Sorry. I have one of those too, Venture Cast. Let's see here. They're really good journeys with June and Brady, especially on those cold Alaska mornings. So yes, Spicy Sailor. You might call me Scott the Spicy Sailor by the time I'm done. Dewey Ski said it's hard just to get on some excursions with the current capacity. There you go. Yeah. There's another great point, Dewey.
Well, the excursions fill up, and that's why the excursions are $900 an excursion. Because you know why? Because they can.
Cheryl says, even though this will be my 6th time to Alaska, I would still be pissed if they capped the ship I would be on. Yeah. And I think so we're about to get right into that, but I don't think necessarily it would be the ship that that would be capped. I think it would be the amount of ships and also the amount of passengers. So I don't think necessarily you would be capped on the ship, but yeah, it would be the amount of ships that could visit that port either in a given day or given month or even a year too.
Well, they've done that now in Juneau. I believe they've done that already.
That's what we're going to talk about. Do you think Alaska will ever build new ports to accommodate the people coming to Alaska? Bill, I'll let you answer that one. That one's a great question, Mike or Rihanna.
I believe they will. I'm sure that they have some places, some ports, some cities that will build ports to get some of the traffic. My only concern, though, is the environment.
Yes.
That's my only concern. I'm sure they are looking at other ports just because of the amount of people that are there, and with them limiting number of ships into Juneau and to Sitka and all these other places, they want to limit the capacity or the amount of passengers and the ships. Somebody sees this as a business ideal, and we all know business and environment usually they don't go together.
No.
It's like, well, let's see what we could tear up here to put a port in. What wildlife can we disturb so we can get some cruise visitors in. So,
and that's really the spark of this whole controversy. That's really it. It's environment versus, the cruise, it really businesses and the cruising. It really is.
And I understand. I mean, and I like Alaska. I want to go. I want to go cheap.
Me too.
But I understand that they can't maintain that. The Caribbean ports with all these ships being built. Which port? Some port turned the ship away because they couldn't handle the people. I forget exactly what port that was. You can't handle that. But they're not even talking environment down there, which they probably should be. They're not talking environment. Alaska is worried about the environment. This is a bucket list type place. This is hasn't been touched by man. Places, the glaciers and the mountains and all that. Scott, you were talking about how fresh the air was, but you don't keep fresh air with 9,000 ships coming in there polluting them. I don't care about that. You're still messing up the environment.
You're very true. You're not wrong. Yes, we will go back there this trip, Scott. Yes, I will. I have to go back and see Ken. VentureCast, we were lucky on this last cruise. We were the maybe only ship in all the ports except Juneau. We were there with the Spirit. It was nice without the crowds. So
yes.
There you go. Yes, only. He said only.
Years ago, Alaska wasn't this popular. I don't know what ticked it off. Probably YouTube and people talking, Scott, me talking about how great and how it's a bucket list. Everybody should go. You had Princess, you had Carnival. I mean, there were like the two main lines, and Norwegian, and now you can't get enough. People can't get enough. Even people that, and I was included when I first went. I said I would never go to Alaska. I had no desire to go to Alaska.
Neither
went there one time, and all it took me was one time to go to understand why people love it so much.
Yep.
Why Cheryl said,
Bill, let's not remember what region started or what area started opening up first after the pandemic.
I don't even remember. Was it Alaska?
Alaska. Yep.
Really?
One of the first. Yep. Mm-hmm. And now it's pumping. Now it's pumping, And I'll tell you what, it really is. It's fueled, and this is great. It's fueled by the experienced cruisers finally dipping into Alaska, right? Telling everybody how amazing it is. And now we have a mix of like people that are like, hey, it's my first cruise. I'm going to Alaska. What? Go to Alaska.
Alaska, it has changed. And maybe, maybe once people go a few times, maybe it'll die down. But a lot of people fall in love with it. Cheryl, 6 times in love with it.
In love with it.
Me, I'm going for my 3rd time beginning April of next year. I think I want to expand my cruising to other markets, the Mediterranean, and we always talk about Egypt and Asia cruise, something like that.
River cruise,
so I want to do that. European cruise, to get out there and do something different, because you do get tired of the Caribbean. And Caribbean is nice and some beautiful water. But if you go down to Miami, a nice beach, isn't that the Caribbean? I mean, pretty much the heat. I know. It's not exactly, but you got a taste of it. You can't get a taste of Alaska. You can't get a taste of even like going into Amsterdam, cruising in there, and France and Paris, and going to see that. You can't replicate that anyplace else in the world.
No, you can't.
And Alaska is one of those things that you just can't replicate.
No, you can't. You can't. Shady Brady says, Scott, question. I think you bought some jade there. How much was it? Yes, I bought a bear in the shape of a jade for one of my coworkers. It was about $25. I think he gave me a deal. Said it was like 32. He's like, just give me 25 cash. So super cool guy. Marjorie Ambrose has also come in. Welcome in, Marjorie. Najuma has come in. Hello, everyone. Dewey, if we didn't say hello to you before, hello, Dewey. The Island Boys Travel, who was feeding Frenzy. Hello, the Island Boys. Welcome in. I want a jade bracelet. Yes, there's so many there. Gotta go, Scott. If you have any questions, DM me. Yes, thank you so much, Cheryl. She's like my go-to. You and her, Bill, honestly, to tell you the truth. Absolutely. Alaska is one on my bucket list. Hello, Sharina Reef. Welcome in.
It is. I have to admit, I know a lot of people don't like cold weather, but just once, even if you don't get off the ship, I think you're missing out if you don't get off the ship. But even if you don't, just to see the scenery, and me personally, I would go earlier in the year.
Yes,
like April or May. Because
Yeah.
as you start talking about June, July, August, it's still beautiful. The snow starts to melt.
Yeah.
So you have less, the wildlife isn't as active in the summertime. So me personally, I would do it in April or May.
Hello, Gloria Globies. Welcome in. Hello, Pete, Scratching Pete PA. Welcome in. Here's one for you, Bill. Traveling Fool says Nile cruise would be awesome. Bill has been talking about Nile.
I have to start looking into that. I really do. I want to fly over to Cairo, go look at the pyramid, do a Nile River cruise. I that's top of the bucket list. That's top of the bucket list.
And Traveling Fools travels to some crazy places. So, I mean, I know he's going on his first cruise for the Slob Olympics, but he does travel to, Thailand. And I know he was talking about Nile, going to the Nile on one of his lives the other day. So, I mean,
Traveling Fools, I watch Traveling Fools. They're up late like me, and they're going room full of people. I see all the people. I don't say anything because I just see so many people in there. And this is at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and they're going at it. But let me know, or keep in touch, or I will keep in touch with you, because I can see within the next 2 years booking a flight over to Cairo and if I go over to Cairo, I got to take a Nile River cruise. So
he would do it. He would definitely do it. That's for sure. And I think somebody might get hooked on cruising after he goes on the Glory next year. So I'm going to. So yeah. Hey, Em. Hey there, Bill and Scott. I am streaming from your side on my iPad. We appreciate you, Em. Thank you. From my understanding, I was told to go in June or August, not as cold. August last year was actually phenomenal. We had great weather. I was hot, to be honest with you. This year, it's going to be cold, a little colder than I'm used to. But
Emily, you're going to Alaska. You sure you don't want a little cold weather in Alaska? I mean, that's kind of why you're going there. I'd be disappointed if I got there and it was 75 degrees and no snow, and I would be a little disappointed. I kind of want to go. I want to see the snow. I want to see ice. I want to see the glaciers. I want to see that's what I'm going there for. So I'm expecting a little cold, but it wasn't bad. Yeah, again, the weather wasn't bad in April. No, I'm sorry. I went in early May. The weather was up in the 60s, and maybe one day it got up to 65 or so. It wasn't bad.
Wow. All right. So, and we got to the bottom of the chat. We are into the bottom of the chat. So, coming back to our topic here, let's talk about what cruise port, Bill, because we haven't told them, but kind of teased it. But let's talk about the cruise port that actually does have a capacity limit right now in the present time. So Juneau actually has put a cap on the amount of ships that are allowed to dock there per day. And that limit is going to be 5. So they just started that at the beginning of this season. They got it passed in 2023. And they are now even trying to petition and get another bill signed or passed that would limit the amount of cruise passengers that visit the port by 2026. And this is also all stemming from obviously the amount of cruise ships. But Bill, do you know a term called hot berthing as far as cruising goes?
No, I can't say that. Can't say that I do, Scott.
Okay, so hot berthing, not spelled BIRTH berthing, but BE berthing, is basically when a ship leaves a parking spot and scutters away. We're off to our next port. Somebody comes right in and right there. It doesn't even get to cool off from all the emissions. Hopped right in and boom, we got to let our cruise passengers off. So they said right now, as far as Alaska goes, they are dealing with a lot of hot berthing at a lot of these ports. Juneau in specific, the fact that it's in and out, in and out, in and out, and
Yeah.
all of the ships are coming and going, which is why they had to limit it to 5 to limit the hot berthing, limit the capacity, obviously, of how many cruise ships right now, how many cruise ships are able to visit there, and also a little drawback on the economy and all of the local tourism there in the port of Juneau itself. Now, even though it's a law and even though that it's going through right now, it doesn't mean, like we said before, all the locals are happy with it. There are some that are completely happy with it, and then there's some that are quite frankly, they're pissed. They're upset.
Well, it is. You know, there's a lot of money to be made. So if you're worried about the economy, yeah, the more the merrier. But if the quality of life, if you move to a location for quality of life to be a certain way, now all of a sudden it's changed. It's all touristy. And Nassau is the main one that I can think of. Nassau has changed so much over the years, where they did not care how many people came, and it got to a point where it was so many people that people didn't even want to go to Nassau.
Yep.
I'd rather stay on the ship than go to Nassau. And they learned that instead of limiting ships, though, they just built it out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now they have it where you can come in and get off the ship, spend some money without even going into Nassau. You're still in the port area. It's like a captive audience. A lot of people don't even go through the gate in Nassau anymore.
It's a little mall. They think that is the port, the new built up little
port. It's really, here's a couple little shops here, a couple little bars here, band over here. I have yet to see anybody play in the amphitheater.
Not yet.
I have yet to see anybody play there. It looks nice, like it'll be a good venue. I haven't seen anybody play there. So,
yep.
But can you imagine doing something like that in Alaska, like building this humongous port to let all these ships in and going to Juneau, going to Ketchikan, Skagway?
Yeah. Yeah. And the crazy part was, I also read on the adverse, I know I shared this story about the veterans who were welcoming the first ship, but there was actually a lady who got interviewed, and I was going to play it, but I forgot to pull it up. But a lady who actually got interviewed and said, I've lived in Juneau for my entire life, and 30 plus years of her life. And she said, I'm kind of scared to tell my friends and family to come and visit because it's going to be so congested, and A, the flights are going to be so much, and B, we're not going to have anything to do but hang out at my house.
Yeah,
because it's going to just be us. It was like, wow. Like for me, I mean, that was like a really big wake up call, because somebody like I put myself in her shoes. I'm like, wow, imagine Scottsdale was like that. I mean, I don't go out anyway, but imagine Scottsdale was like that. And I was like, I don't even want to go out because Scottsdale's so congested. I mean, sometimes it's traffic in Scottsdale is like that, but I mean, I couldn't even imagine that, because that port, it's the capital, and people that live there are complaining that there's just too much cruise traffic and too many people, too many tourists. Then it's overloading the locals that are there, and that's just not fair. That's just not fair.
A lot of places are getting like that. I mean, go to Europe, go to Amsterdam. They stop the tourism. The people can't even enjoy their cities anymore in a lot of these places. Yep. You go to Rome, it's bad with just tourists.
I agree. And Alaska's been trying to get a bill like this passed, or something like this passed, since 2021. So this is the first time that they've taken a step in order kind of for the economy, for the locals, to peel back that five limit in the port of Juneau. And Juneau is actually not the only one, Bill. So there are, I know you mentioned it before, but do you know the talks or the restrictions in Sitka, which is another popular port in Alaska?
Sitka, no, they've been talking about it. They want to like cut capacity probably in half almost, as far as the number of passengers, because they don't have the infrastructure for handling all these people, and the local businesses are just crazy because they can't get enough of it. but it just, these towns aren't big enough for people. And think about all the traffic. Okay, well, now we got all these people. Now they need excursions. So now we need buses. We need people come down here. People that work here have to drive down here, and the traffic. And it's like, oh my goodness, is a cruise ship coming in today? I don't even want to go down that way.
Yep.
And so there's a lot more than just cruise ships. It's like the amount of people that you have to operate those cruise ships, the waters, all those whale watching excursions, all those dog sled excursions. You got to get there. You got to drive. You got to have boats on the water. It's bad if you think about it from a local's standpoint.
Yep. And hey, Bill, what goes in those buses besides people?
Fuel.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's also a bill too. I was doing even more deeper research. There's a bill. It's like onions and layers. There's another bill that's going to be passed about them putting in more greener buses for the cruise passengers, because it's so much volume, and they're talking about even greener cars and greener options for cruise passengers and the transportation to get them to and from the downtown areas and back to the ports, because the buses with the cruise passengers are creating so much. Let's just say what it is, Bill. Carbon footprint is really what
it is. And it's terrible that you're destroying like one of these natural, everybody wants to see it.
Yeah.
This great wonder, Alaska, but in seeing it, you're destroying it. I mean, do you really? It's like a snowflake. What a beautiful snowflake. Let me catch it. Oh, it's melted. I mean, do you really? A flower is beautiful. Let me pick it. It dies, and that's what we're doing to Alaska, slowly but surely. As much as I love going up there, slowly but surely, they need to put regulations in to protect it and save this natural beauty, this one place on earth that you have this beauty where you can enjoy with the whales and the sea lions and all this other, the oh my goodness, the bald eagles were like pigeons up there. It was, to me, and you said you didn't see any, or somebody said that.
Didn't see
they
any.
were like,
we will see them this time. But.
Yeah, there were so many. I mean, it was just, I couldn't believe it. It's like, this can't be pigeons. I mean, bald eagles.
Eagles.
Yeah.
That's and let me just put this into perspective for everybody in the chat. Okay, Sitka, right? For instance, Sitka it's popular, but it's a smaller port in Alaska, right? It's got 8,500 people population. Not big at all. 8,500 people in a town or a city, right? So 8,500 people. 550,000 cruise passengers annually, and this is just average, 550,000 visit there a year. Think about that versus how many people live there and what they're trying to do. And this, I still think this is kind of generous. They're trying to limit it by 2026. This is Sitka. There's talks about it and petitions being signed and things being pushed that way. But they're trying to get it limited to 240,000 annually. Right now, they're still hosting the 550,000, but they're talking about 240,000, which is like a 42% decrease, give or take, year over year, by 2026. So, I think that that's more than fair,
because a town that small, the infrastructure is just, they can't handle it. People are coming from, it would take everybody in the city to work for the travel industry for it to work properly. I mean, it's just, you got people coming from all over probably trying to help to assist in that, which is good. If all you care about is finances and the economy, it's good. But the quality of life for people in that city will never be the same. Whatever brought, the people that have been there for 30 years, whatever brought them there, is gone.
Yeah. And just to finish this too, and finish off, I'm going to circle back and go back to Juneau, talking about 2026 too. In Juneau, they're also talking, and this bill really surprised me, but they're in talks about Saturday being the day that has the lowest number of passengers and cruise ships allowed in port by 2026. So not right
Perfect.
now. They're still five ships a day, but by 2026, they're talking about limiting it. They haven't even thrown out a number, but they're talking about Saturday being the day that has the least amount of cruise passengers. And the locals have come back and said, that's actually our busiest day. Some of them are happy about it. Again, you're always going to sit on the side of controversy on this, but a lot of them are like, well, Saturdays are a busy day. So
yeah, but think about the people that work all weekend. We just want to go hang out.
Get it.
I mean, I understand it. I completely understand it. I completely understand why they would want give us one day on the weekend.
Yeah.
Cruisers, they don't care what day they come down here. They're going to do whatever they're going to do, whenever. Let us have a weekend day where we can live a semi-normal life.
That's a really good perspective, Bill. That's a really good perspective. I didn't even, well, I thought about it kind of like that, but I didn't kind of put the whole spin on it like you did. But yeah, no, that's a really good idea. And they're not saying no cruise ships on Saturdays, but they're talking about drastically limiting it, maybe by, a couple cruise ships or something like that, which is a lot of passengers. It really is. Let's see. The Island Boy says, how many ships can dock in Juneau at once? Right now, I don't think there are any limits on Juneau. I was researching all of the cruise ports, and right now, Sitka is in talks, and right now, Juneau has the 5 ship per day, cruise ship per day cap right now, as far as visiting goes. Sifting some soil and more. Hey, Bill and Scott. Hello, Mona. Welcome in. Let's see. And here we go. This is really good too that the Island Boy chimed in.
It is.
Said, that's our bread and butter. I live in Nassau, and he does, and he comes in and visits all the time. So I mean, there's somebody that lives and works in Nassau and lives off of the tourism.
That's what Nassau did was because of the money that was coming in. They brought in too many people at once, and they couldn't handle it, which made people not want to go off and visit Nassau. I like walking around Nassau. There's a lot of places near there that you can just walk around and visit and just have a good time.
Yeah.
But because of it's so crowded, because everybody is trying to get you to take their cars, take their cab, take this excursion, people hated Nassau.
Yeah.
They built this new port. You still get the money from the ships, but it cut out a lot of the congestion in front of the port.
Yeah.
So I mean, it looks like Nassau did a really good job with what's going on now. Looks like it.
I really want to visit, and next time I'm in coming down to Nassau too, the Island Boy, which will be soon this year, I'll definitely let you know. So hopefully we can meet up. But I want to know your thoughts about the new port too, so you can put that down in the comments too. I'm eager to hear what you think. Let's see. I am Betty J. Gathers says, well, look who we have here, Mr. Controversial and Mr. Bill. Hello, Betty J. Welcome in. Reminds us to thumbs up. Thank you, Betty. Always appreciate you. All you stay away from Alaska. Y'all messing with it. Messing of you cruisers.
Pretty much.
Betty won't go there because it's cold, though. She already said that. Mona said, I'm going in August. Ooh, there you go.
Nice.
There you go.
I tell everybody to go. I say, for me, the best time to go is April and May. But August, if you don't like cold weather, you're still going to see beauty. Yeah, I mean, it don't. So don't think like whenever you hear me say, oh, April and May, and the heat, and it's going to be. No, it's not going to be that type of heat. It could be. Probably you might get into the 70s. It'll be.
Could be. They can do whatever they want in the first 2 weeks. I got to get there first. That's what I said. That's why, I think it's a really good time before, they really start limiting some of these ports, and before people kind of poke their heads up, other ports start to poke their heads up and say, well, look at what Juneau's doing. We could do that. Ketchikan starts limiting cruise. Ketchikan. If I couldn't go to Ketchikan, I probably would just cancel the cruise. Just joking. I wouldn't cancel the cruise, but still, Ketchikan. I love Ketchikan. if you guys want a quieter port, try to see Freeport, not touristy like Nassau.
There's nothing. You have to actually now you have to take a car or a cab or something somewhere.
But she's right.
But it is quieter.
It is much quieter. It is much quieter. Okay, so Bill, before we wrap up, I want to kind of play the devil's advocate and play on the other side for us, for the cruisers and the tourists. When all these kind of start to implement themselves and start to kind of come in and we start to see more and more cruise ports being capped, Bar Harbor, Sitka, Juneau, right? When 2026 rolls around, and we might even, like I said, even start to see more on the tourism side for us as cruisers. How does that make you feel? And what is going to be your response when you start to book certain cruises and certain itineraries, when you start to look? And where is that going to force you?
Well, it's going to make me glad that I did my Alaska cruising earlier. I understand. I understand as far as the locals and a way of life, even though I want to see it. But you just, if you've ever like traveled and went to see like the Roman Colosseum, there's just so many people there. So many, they're disrespectful. They're climbing on the rocks. There's just so many. You can just see how it destroys this wonder of the world, and why people would want to cut it down. Amsterdam is a great town to just, you're walking around, everybody has a bike, and but the passengers, there's so many visitors there that the local people just can't deal with it. And I understand it. And I'm a visitor and I want to go and I want to see it all, but I understand when they put limits on it. But with the limits going to come a higher price. Yep. And I have to be willing to, if that's the way that I feel, I have to be willing to pay that higher price.
That's right. And honestly, Bill, so then you look at it, right? And you say, okay, so Alaska, right? Driving up the port fees, the taxes, right? Wow, this is like an insane price. And I got to pay double because you cruise solo most of the time. Sometimes you sometimes you get a buddy to go on the Margaritaville at sea, but usually you cruise solo. And if you're going to spend all this money, right, might it even force you to start to look at some things like you've been looking at Nile River cruises or smaller expedition ships, right? Because if you're going to spend $6, $7, $8 to go to Alaska, why wouldn't you spend $6, $7, $8 to go into the Nile River or Antarctica or I don't know, Japan, like you said you wanted to go.
That's the crazy part. The prices that we're paying for some of these cruises, you can do a European cruise or European vacation.
Yeah.
Probably anywhere. I'm not saying European, but anywhere. When you start talking about $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 on a 7-day cruise, you can fly over to Europe and enjoy Paris, Madrid. You can enjoy these places for that kind of money. Cruising. I always talk about how the whole thing used to be how expensive Disney was.
Yeah.
And Royal with their prices now, Disney doesn't look that bad. It makes you look elsewhere. Carnival, that's kind of why they have me hooked, because of the deals that they have and the price that I pay. But if Carnival starts like, hey, well, no more deals, we're going to pay full price and your price is going to be matching. Because matter of fact, Embarkation Nation, Andrew from Embarkation Nation looked up prices, and if you priced in like the drink package, internet, and dinners, or like especially dinners, Norwegian and Carnival had like over the New Year's holiday, New Year's Day holiday, they were nearly the same price. You saved a couple of pennies. So if it's the same price, why wouldn't I go try Norwegian?
That's right.
That's right. Royal Caribbean, you want to match Disney prices? Well, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I try Disney? So, yeah, it's a sticky situation.
It really is. It really is. And it was, to be honest with you, it might if it's something like that, where, you know, some of the most popular cruise ports, obviously the most popular cruise ports are the ones that are going to be dealing with these caps and these limits because of the amount of tourists, right? It might force or may make some of the cruisers think about like land expeditions, like Armstrong said, you know, or it may even say, okay, well, I'm just going to take the money and I'm going to fly to Alaska and I'm going to stay in Ketchikan, or I'm going to stay in Juneau for a week, get an Airbnb, get a hostel, get whatever you want to get, and really enjoy, you know, and kind of almost be a local where you're not part of the cruise crowd. You're still a tourist, don't get me wrong, but you know, you're more of being there the entire 24 hours where you don't have to rush back to a ship, or, you know, yada yada yada. So
Key West was like that. Key West used to like, hey, more the merrier, bring all the people down. And you know, if you went on a 3 or 4 day cruise, you stopped at Key West. Now that they've limit like the number of ships down there now, people look forward to going to Key West.
they do.
The cruisers.
It's true. It's true. And I know, just I'll kind of end it with a positive spin. But since 2022, and since they were kind of pushing this greener sort of way into Alaska, it was reported that actually there was, and this is really, really cool. It was reported that there was 90% less trash in Alaska ports in 2023 because of that raised awareness. And just to put that into perspective, it is all of the trash that was collected for 2023 in Juneau accounted for 1 days of trash for the locals in Juneau.
Wow.
Yeah. So 2023, and obviously they're going to get better in 2024.
Yeah.
And this is the environmentalists, right? And all of the people trying to pass these bills, working with the cruise communities and the cruise companies, right? And understanding together that they both have to do this. Otherwise, nature preserves like Alaska are not going to be here any longer, right? And it's almost kind of like, yes, we're a business. Well, okay, well, guess what? Your business isn't going to be here anymore if you don't help us. Okay, well, we're going to help you. And it's kind of nice that it kind of could end a little bit like that, where we can get a report 2023, the garbage by 90% in Alaska is going down. So if those kind of numbers still kind of trend that way, 2024, 2025, 2026, right? Some of these caps by 2027, they may even be lifted, right? They may say, wow, we can actually withstand 6, 7, 8 cruise ships a day because we were able to, right, take a little time in the lull, grow within the economy, right? Really help the economy of Juneau grow. And now we even have money to put in another port. Now we got another port for NCL. Oh, we got another port for Carnival. Oh, we got another port for Royal. I just said 3 ports, but 1 port, right? They got a new port now, right? 5 ships. Now it's 6 ships. Then next year, then it's the 7 ships, right? And this is how you can really start to understand a cruise company and the state, or the state of Juneau, the town of Juneau, and the board really kind of coming together to make something better happen for a natural place like Alaska.
There has to be a ground where they can come to an agreement as far as keeping the economy going, but also preserving the nature, the beauty. Yep. So
I agree. And yeah, no, I mean, I think we've pretty much touched all of the topics here and talked pretty much all about the cruise capping. And I honestly really want to know, for anybody who ends up playing the replay on this, or anybody that is still in the chat too, what your kind of stance being a tourist, and if you were to stand on the side of a local in a place like Juneau, put yourself in their shoes, where would you play, and what side of the seesaw would you sit on? Would you be angry and say, well, you know, why are we limiting the cruise ships? Or would you be like, you know, this is going to be great for the capital in Juneau, the money in Juneau, and it's also going to be great for the environment. Let us build for 2 or 3 years, and then hey, we got another port for you guys. Surprise! So just
I
my
don't necessarily see that happening in Juneau, but
no,
I can see like another town who wants the economic boost.
Yeah,
to build a port and invite a ship or two.
yes. And all of the locals said, and all of the board members, they know that the tourism in these Alaskan ports is what keeps them more than afloat. So it's not that they're saying we don't want the cruise, but we don't appreciate them. All they do is throw their all over the place. They're not saying that. They're not at all saying get out of Alaska. They're saying let's do this together so we can keep Alaska around for 2030, 2033, 20, and so on and so forth. So that's really kind of the bigger message within this live. So, and I think we kind of touched all the topics too. And let me see, let's get into the chat before we roll out of here, Mr. Bill. Let's see, there is nothing in Freeport. Well, unless you take the car. If you take the car downtown, there is some stuff to do in Freeport, but a lot of people either get scared or they don't want to take the $15 Uber or taxi ride down to Freeport, which I understand. Having a dinner and grabbing some wine, heading to Tink Show. I am on a mod on her channel. Well, we appreciate you, and she says goodbye, guys. Let's see here. I think I'm almost down to the bottom. Oh, Dewey says most of the locals that I talked to last couple of years when I was in Alaska were glad to have the business because they were so hurt during COVID. Yes, and that's what Ken was saying too. I'm not sure who is not wanting the business. It's not, I don't think, Dewey, that it's not that they don't want the business. I think that they want to be able to sustain, right, the products, the services that they're offering to the tourists without it, taking away from the resources in Alaska itself, right? And also just not being overwhelmed, right? As far as a shop goes, because that is true. A lot of these ports, they just get so jammed, and whether you're dealing with theft because you're a small business owner, or whether you're dealing with just not having enough staff members, whether you're dealing with not having enough product. If you're let's say a jade seller and you end up selling out of all your jade by 9 a.m. and you got 3 more ships, you're like, what? I guess I go home for the day, but I mean, it's good, but it's just
there's a balance. There's a balance. Obviously you want some tourist, but if you travel a lot, a lot of places want to cut down because tourists, they take over, and you can't enjoy your town. Juneau happens to be a big city. So, it's a city. It can accommodate quite a few people, but some of these other smaller ports, some of these other smaller cities, they can't handle that 300,000, 400,000 people, 500,000 people, and not provide for the locals.
Right. Correct. There has to be a balance. Grow the economy and yet preserve the beautiful instructor. 110%, Shireen. 100%. Best thing to know is someone in Freeport. Yeah, 100%. If you know somebody, you're in. Just remember, Scott, you will have a better time with Richard. Yes. I mean, we're in port for a very long time, so I'm definitely going to be doing some things with Richard, but I'll definitely be doing some things with you guys. I'm definitely going to be doing some things alone. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be exploring everywhere. Scott the Explorer. But Bill, that kind of brings us down to the end. I just wanted to hear everybody's thoughts of where they sat on the seesaw. But what do you have for wrapping up the week or bending into next week?
I think I'm going to take off tomorrow. I banter with Bill tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time. I think I'm going to cancel that, so I won't do that next week.
Okay. Monday
I'll be back. I'm going to take off probably the rest of the week. Monday I'll come back with a video. It'll be my day, my perfect day at Coco Cay. This is the first time I was at Coco Cay since they built it up. So you'll see my video Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be a premiere. And then, Scott, I'll be back with you on next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then banter with Bill 5 p.m. Eastern time next week on Thursday.
That's right. And yeah, so I will be on location. On location, I'll be on the Carnival Miracle next Wednesday. Bill, you will be hosting, so
Okay.
just in case anything happens or the Wi-Fi drops off or I just sound like the
Well-
E-R-R-E-R, then yeah, you're not.
And let me know. I mean, if you decide you don't want to do a show, let me know, because I know how doing those live shows, you're looking at 7 p.m., you're looking at dinner time, you're looking at show time.
Yeah.
So just, let me know if people, you guys can miss us for a week, right? Or a week or
True.
two.
True.
We want Scott to enjoy his vacation.
Yes, but also too, there is a goal. I'll tell everybody the goal. The goal is to at least do one cruise talk live from the ship, because I want to try to at least show you, if I can move, show you some things, and or at least tell you about how Alaska has been. If you guys have any questions about Alaska, I think our topic will be more of a Q&A about Alaska. If you also want to ask Bill, because he's going for the third time, it's not like he doesn't know what he's talking about. So I think we'll just kind of open it as a cruising Alaska Q&A, just in case one of us has to drop off and it's, we're not, it's easier when you have a co-host and you're talking back and forth rather than when the person is frozen and drops off. So I've been there. Bill's been there. It happens. But yeah, my goal is at least to do it once. So I'm going to test the waters. I'll definitely let you know, Bill. And then we'll have thumbnails ready to go. And if you see them, then you know.
Then you know. Look at Carnival Cruise Addicts comment.
No, we want Scott to do 7 lives a week.
It seems like you do one every week. You do four a week? What do you do?
Yeah, four a week now. So now we have Cruise Talk Live on Wednesdays right here. I have Thirsty Thursdays in the Sea Wave Lounge with Jimmy, the astute tourist. And then I am also right back hosting in the Sea Wave Lounge again on Friday for Match Game Live with the regular stars, Carnival Cruise Addicts and Cruise Life TV. We open that 2 days a week. Yes, you get to see Captain Controversy 2 days a week there. And then I have opened up by request a podcast on the 3 most controversial topics during the week in the cruise and travel industry world. It's called the Controversy Cast. So you will see those thumbnails. So it's 4 lives a week, an hour on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then there is a half an hour on the weekend that I spend with you, and I have coffee and, slow things down. Kind of like what we do here with Cruise Talk Live. We're much more in a serious tone, and, we want to give you the information because we know that's why you guys are here, right? For the information, the experience. Bone Tired Traveler says, "Hey guys, driving and listening, went to see the new grandbaby." And yes, congratulations. I saw
Congratulations.
Super awesome. And let's see. Yes, and congrats, Denise from Bone Tired Traveler. So I think that is going to wrap up. We always like to see. Hold on. See, I have a memo here, and this is why we do the write-up. I am going to end the poll that we forgot about because it was an hour and 14 minutes ago. I am so bad at ending polls, guys. You guys are like
on the club. Me too.
This guy asked us polls, and he doesn't even. What in the heck? All right, so let's go back up. What was the poll question? I know what the poll question was, but I want to read it verbatim. What port would you be most upset about if they capped the capacity? We have Alaska, we have Western Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean, and Europe. So let's see what my chat had to say. Oh, you have to end the poll, and then you got to talk for 15 seconds because it doesn't pop up. Oh, okay, mine popped up. Alaska is 57%. Eastern Caribbean is 21%. Oh, I'm surprised by that. Europe is 15%, and Western Caribbean is 5%. So, yeah.
On my side, Alaska was 41%. Eastern Caribbean was 33%, Western Caribbean was 16%, and then Europe was 8%.
Wow.
Little different.
A little different. Alaska's still up at top, though.
Still at the top, but it didn't get 50%. I'm surprised by that.
Just under. But yeah, so we ended the poll. We did such a good job. So thank you guys for participating in the poll now that we've ended it. And what I was going to say is we always like to thank and appreciate all of our mods that come in and make sure that Bill and I are safe while we ramble up here about cruising for an hour with you guys. So thank you to our mods. Thank you for all of our loyal Cruise Talk Live fans that come and show their support every single Wednesday. You are why this show is in the making. So we come back every week for you guys.
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate you guys being here.
That's right. And Bill, what do you say, or what do now we say, I guess, on Wednesdays right before we end?
Well, as I always like to say on Warm Strong Adventure is make sure you guys stay strong and embrace the journey. And we will see you. Well, Scott, are you going live tomorrow?
Oh yeah, so I forgot too. This week I'm special. I teased it earlier, but I'm actually going to be in an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh.
I'm going to be live again with Traveling Fools, going over some first-time cruiser things for his community and Traveling Fools himself. They have a ton of questions. They decided to do a group cruise, Slava Olympics group cruise, and none of them have really been on a cruise. So
sweet.
Going to be there and helping them out. So love Traveling Fools, love his community. They always show support too. So yes, I will be over there in an hour and 45 if anybody wants to come over and hang out. It is on my page and it's also on his. Betty also says goodbye, and Bone Tires says goodbye. Long time. Oh, and Pete, long time no see. And thanks y'all, she says. And the Island Boy says goodbye and bless y'all. So thank you guys. We love you. And yeah. Stay strong and embrace the journey. There you go.
Yep. Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.